Friday Night Blue Jays baseball is presented by McCain, and tonight they welcome the Colorado Rockies. The first 3 games at home, we've seen tremendous starting pitching from the Jays, so Kevin Gausman would like to continue that trend, though his last performance in New York was somewhat atypical. So let's see what he's capable of tonight. Up to the broadcast booth we go. That's where we find Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez.
Jamie, thank you. And yeah, to your point, I think everybody on the Blue Jays side of the field, Buck, is assuming the last start was a blip, and it'll be typical vintage Kevin Gausman on the mound tonight.
Yeah, when you make 31 starts in the season, you're going to have a couple of clunkers in there. And in New York, he never really got into the flow of the game. The thing about Gausman is he threw 12 pitches. The 12th pitch went out of the ballpark, a 2-run home run to Aaron Judge. And then 4 pitches later, he gave up a home run to Giancarlo Stanton. He never really got into the flow of the game. His four-seam fastball was down about 5 or 6 miles on average. He never got his splitter into the mix very effectively. He's going to be much better tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised if he continues this hot stretch of starting pitching we've gotten lately on this homestand. The last 3 starters of the Blue Jays have been exceptional. I think Kevin Gausman's going to be good tonight.
He's also a Colorado native as he faces the Rockies, who are here at the Rogers Center for the first time since 2013. And Kevin Gausman on the mound as the Blue Jays open up this weekend series.
And Dan, tonight they go up against right-hander Ryan Feltner and a team that has just 3 victories on the season. It's Bo Bichette and the rest of his friends up against the Rockies tonight on Sportsnet.
Toronto area. Good thing we've got a roof here for the Blue Jays at the Rogers Center as they open up a weekend series with the Colorado Rockies. We are happy to bring you Friday Night Blue Jays baseball presented by McCain. As you know, Kevin Gausman is on the mound. The Rockies just 3-10 on the season. The Blue Jays 6-7. Took 2 out of 3 from Seattle, lost the last game of the series, had the off day yesterday, and now ready to ramp it back up. 3 with Colorado, 3 with the Yankees before they head back out on the road. And a look at the lineup for the Rockies tonight. They've got some guys who can hit. Ryan McMahon, who's off to a great start this year. Chris Bryant is not. He is just 4 for 40. They've got some guys who have had success in the past who are struggling, like Bryant and Jones, but Tovar and McMahon off to very, very good starts. Containing them will be a big key for Kevin Gausman tonight.
Yeah, the Colorado Rockies, much like the Blue Jays, haven't scored many runs early in a ball game. For his first 2 starts, Gausman has been roughed up. Last time, as we mentioned, just an inning and a third in New York. He never really got into the flow of the game. In his last side session after that start, he threw very well. Pete Walker called it a normal side session. Velocity was good. Command was good. So I expect him to be good tonight against Colorado.
Ready to go here at Rogers Center. Ezequiel Tovar, the shortstop, is going to lead it off for the Rockies. Just 22 years of age. From Venezuela, he is in his 2nd full season. Had a good rookie season to the point where the Rockies signed him to a 7-year, $63 million deal in the offseason. And he's hitting .333 in the early going this year. First pitch swung on and foul tipped into the mitt of Alejandro Kirk, and it's 0-1 in front of this Friday night crowd here at the ballpark.
Yeah, you mentioned he's very, very young, but very, very confident. They have him hitting leadoff spot, and he's off to a good start this season.
And he sends a high fly ball to left. Varsho is going back, and on the warning track, he's got room for the first out of the ball game.
Well, the Blue Jays, before the game, Kevin Kiermaier and Jose Barrios received their Gold Gloves. As a team, the Blue Jays won the Gold Glove last year. Kiermaier, his 4th Gold Glove of his career. Varsho in left, Springer in right. On the infield, IKF has a Gold Glove, as does Vladdy Guerrero. Up the middle, it's Bichette and Biggio. Turned a nifty double play on Wednesday. Alejandro Kirk looking for some relief, and it's not too far away. Danny Jansen should be here next series.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot more about Jansen and Swanson and Romano and Manoah in the coming hours. Also, Yariel Rodriguez is here, but he is not on the roster tonight. Lots more on all of that coming up over the course of the evening. And it's now a 2-0 count on McMahon. the third baseman for the Rockies. Again, hitting .383 in the early going, and how about a good way to end tonight? Had a walk-off grand slam on Friday in the home opener for the Rockies to beat Tampa Bay last Friday night 10-7.
Yeah, he's been very consistent offensively. He's also a very good third baseman. Does a nice job fielding at third. He is a key to their success offensively.
Good splitter there, and it's very early. But we do see there was so much concern about Gausman's velocity in the start in New York. As you look at Bud Black, longtime manager, and the velocity higher than it was in New York. He's been kind of 92 to 94 so far with a fastball, and he will often ramp up a little bit in terms of the velocity, but definitely it is higher now than it was in the early going at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin's going to chase velo tonight. I think he's going to try to execute pitches a little more consistently. You just can't go out there and rear back and try to hit radar numbers. You got to make your pitches.
And this fastball is hit in the air to center, backpedaling Kiermaier, and it's another deep fly ball out. But there are two down here in the top of the first.
In the pregame media scrum, Buddy Black, the manager of the Colorado Rockies, was asked about this ballpark. Is the ball carrying this ballpark? And he deferred to me. He said, what do you think, Bob? I said, I don't think we really know after the renovations last year into this year the true nature of this ballpark, whether it's going to be a hitter's ballpark or a pitcher's ballpark just yet.
But Black was actually briefly a Blue Jay. Back in 1990, he had a nice long 15-year career as a pitcher, and he made 3 starts for the Blue Jays in 1990 after coming over in a trade.
Yeah, he was a free agent after that year, and he said it was close to San Francisco or Toronto. He said, I really thought about coming back to Toronto, but he eventually signed with the Giants. His mom and dad were both Canadian. He's got relatives live out in Edmonton. He said he's always had a good thought about Toronto for sure.
Good splitter there from Gausman, and he's out in front of Chris Bryant, 1-2. As mentioned, Bryant, a former Rookie of the Year, former MVP. Now in his 3rd year of a 7-year deal with the Rockies, has had all kinds of injuries the last couple of years, has missed more games than he's appeared in, and he is off to a 4-for-40 start this season. Wouldn't chase there, 2-2.
Yeah, they've talked to him a lot. They've asked him, are you healthy? You feel okay? He says, yeah, I'm fine, but his swing doesn't look smooth. It doesn't really look fluid at all. He's dealt with back issues in the past. But when he's healthy, when he's right, he's one of the best power hitters in the game.
2-2, and the high fastball is swung on and missed. And Gausman sets down the Rockies 1-2-3 in the top of the first. That's Chris Bassett making sure all is okay with Jose Ministral, the head athletic trainer. Whatever's being done, whatever's being said, it cracked up John Schneider and Bowden Francis and others in the dugout. A day off is good for everybody's psyche every now and again, don't you think?
Absolutely. Everybody looks like they're into the spirit of things tonight, that's for sure.
And here's the lineup for the Blue Jays tonight. The usual group at the top of the order, including Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hitting second. A lot of interleague success for Vladdy, that monster home run on Wednesday afternoon. And they will take on right-hander Ryan Feltner, making his 3rd start of the year for the Rockies.
27 years old now. He's 6'4", a perfect body for a pitcher in my mind, and he is really good at keeping the ball on the ground. As Dan mentioned, he's making his 3rd start of the season. 4th-round pick out of Ohio State in 2018.
He was actually originally drafted by the Blue Jays in 2015 out of high school, but elected to go to college and went to Ohio State, as Buck mentioned, a 4th-round pick when he came out 3 years later. And he's coming off a good one. His first start against Arizona wasn't great, but his last start was 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, and there you see it, a career high 10 strikeouts against the Rays.
And 8 ground ball outs. He didn't have an out in the air against the Cubs. And that's his money pitch right there. That slider. Springer couldn't check his swing, and he goes around. That's the first out, first strikeout of the ball game for Feltner. He got good stuff. He'll pitch down in the zone an awful lot, and then he'll use this slider to finish off at bats. It starts on the outside half and breaks down and away, but Springer goes too far.
And is retired for the first out of the inning. As now Vladimir Guerrero Jr. comes up. 96 up and in for ball one. The home run on Wednesday, his third of the season. You can see the OPS 742 and the OPS plus 117, meaning that he is 17% above league average, taking into account where his games have been played. Offense is down noticeably at the outset of this year, and I'm sure it'll normalize. The weather gets warmer and so forth. It always seems to start off slow. Bounced foul, and it's 2-1. I'm sure the Blue Jays are glad to be playing in a climate controlled ballpark here with kind of a chill in the air and rainy weather outside the last couple of days.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I think it's a real advantage for the Blue Jays. They can be consistent no matter what the weather is. They know they can have batting practice. They can get in all their work on a daily basis.
Slider there, 2-2.
To give you an idea how good Feltner was last time, that was against the Tampa Bay Rays, and he did not give up a fly ball. Brandon Lau had a bloop single to center, and they only give up 2 hit balls over 100 miles an hour, and they were both ground ball outs. So he was tough on the Rays.
Bo Bichette hitting in the 3 spot again, waiting on deck. First time the Rockies have been here since 2013. As Guerrero lifts one to center, but it is playable for Brenton Doyle. Rockies were supposed to come here in 2020, but when COVID hit, obviously, you know, baseball was set aside for a while. Then when the schedule was redone, you didn't play interleague or anything like that. So the Rockies haven't been here in a long time. They've only been here on 3 previous occasions, and the Blue Jays are 9-0 against Colorado in this ballpark.
Yeah, and Muddy Black was talking about that. He too came here as a player when he was with the Kansas City Royals, and of course he was on that great Royals team in 1985.
Now Bo Bichette hitting .205, 1 homer, 5 driven in the early going. 2 teams that have had all kinds of problems scoring in the first inning this year. The Rockies have been outscored 16-4 in the first inning of games, and the Blue Jays have been outscored 8-2. They've only scored 2 runs in the first inning in the first 13 games, and they both came in the same game. It was the last game of the series against the Rays. So the Jays haven't scored a run in the first inning in their last 9 games.
And they haven't scored against the starter in those first innings. It was an opener who they scored on in that game in Tampa Bay.
Well, you can see the game plan, at least against the righties. That hard slider almost looks more like a cutter, 89-90, down and away from the right-handed batters like a Springer. Grounded up the middle, and that's through. A base hit for Bichette.
Now what the Jays hitters are going to have to do against Feltner is just bring him up. Don't chase that borderline pitch. You can see this is a 4-seam fastball down just above Bo's knees. It's just sharply on the ground, and it bounces through the infield for a 2-out single.
So Bichette aboard, and here's Justin Turner. And what a start for Turner this year, hitting .342, an OPS over 1,000, and there goes Bo, and he'll steal second without a throw. Now, that's a little early statement made on the bases. We don't usually see the Blue Jays running that aggressively this early in the game or in the count.
Well, he really got a great jump. Watch how quickly he takes off. Feltner hadn't even lifted his foot, and Bo was on the move. The Rockies have not done a good job shutting down the running game. They've only caught 2 of 17 base stealers. That was a terrific jump.
Two 2-0 the count on Turner. And now ball 3.
Take a look at the timing of Bo's lead and the pitcher at the mound, and Bo just never stops, keeps inching off, got a running start, and there's no chance to even make a throw to second base.
And there's ball 4. Wanted to stay away from Turner. He walks him. And it'll be first and second, 2 down now for Kevin Biggio.
It's the 8th walk that Turner's drawn already this season. Of course, the Rockies know him well, having played for the Dodgers so long.
Biggio in a groove right now. He's on a 6-game hitting streak, hitting .412 over that stretch, .294 overall on the season.
I think he's got to take a departure from his approach. Get ready to hit the first pitch.
Takes it right on the inside corner, 0-1.
Everybody knows Kevin likes to take a lot of pitches, but in this situation, you might want to expand a little bit just to get the Blue Jays on the board here early.
And this one is into right center for a base hit. The shed around third. He'll score easily. Turner comes around to third. It's an RBI single for Biggio and an early 1-0 lead.
Well, Kevin's in a good spot, as you mentioned, Dan. He's really swinging with a lot of confidence right now. Bo got a base hit, had a stolen base, and comes around third to score easily. And how about a run in the first inning? Kevin Gausman's not going to know how to act. Good pitch by Kevin. He stayed on this pitch up in the zone and drives it right through the infield. Turner's going to go first to third. Bo comes in to score the first one of the ball game.
And all of this happening with 2 outs. Here's Alejandro Kirk. '14th game for the Blue Jays and 12th start behind the plate for Kirk. And we've mentioned Danny Jansen's name already tonight. Jana was going to have a busy weekend in Buffalo, scheduled to catch the first game of a doubleheader tomorrow, and then catch, if not the whole game, most of the game on Sunday. And then if he's feeling good, does that mean he's back Monday or Tuesday? Maybe?
Yeah, I expect him to be back at some point in the Yankees series. And Danny needs to catch a little bit. He hasn't been back there for a while, just to get back to the rhythm of catching. Danny's had a lot of time to work on his conditioning and everything else, so he's in great shape. But just getting back there and going through the rigors of catching and getting back into the rhythm of the game, I think it's good. He's going to catch a couple more games down there.
He'll catch Alek Manoah tomorrow. Manoah will start the first game of the doubleheader for the Bisons, as Biggio draws a throw. And Eric Swanson and Jordan Romano are also scheduled to pitch in the first game of the doubleheader. So you've got several guys getting closer, or maybe right on the cusp of joining the team. And time called by Kirk. We've seen him do this a lot in 2 strike counts. At the last second, he calls timeout.
Now, we talked about this early on. Not many hitters have done this, but I think it's a good move. If you're going to call timeout, make the pitcher wait on you. Most of the time, the pitchers are the ones that control the tempo of an at-bat.
Blue Jays on the corners, a run in. Check the swing. Well, they'll appeal again, but he checked the swing, and it's 2-2. Nestor Ceja down at first. Todd Tichenor, the crew chief, at second. Corey Blazer at third, and Manny Gonzalez is the home plate umpire tonight, as Feltner has been forced to throw a lot of pitches here in the first. And now a swing and a miss to get him and end the inning. But the Blue Jays do score a first inning run for the first time in a while. Kevin Biggio extends his hitting streak and drives it in, and it's 1-0 Blue Jays at the end of an inning.
Ariel Rodriguez reported earlier today from AAA Buffalo. You may remember that Rodriguez, 27-year-old Cuban right-hander, was the Blue Jays' splashiest addition of the offseason, signing a 5-year, $32 million deal. Now, he started at AAA, but he is here in Toronto now. We are expecting he will be activated before Saturday's game, and that's interesting because Saturday is Bowden Francis' start day, but Francis has been told by the Blue Jays to expect to pitch on Saturday, but not necessarily to start. So it seems like it's possible that Rodriguez could be activated to start that game ahead of Francis in a piggyback scenario. Of course, you can flip-flop those two. Rodriguez could come out of the bullpen. There could be some other length role at play here, one way or another, Dan. It seems like we're going to get Rodriguez's big league debut on Saturday.
Arden, thank you. And I think everybody knew that at some point Yariel Rodriguez was going to come to the major leagues. The Blue Jays signing him to a 5-year, $32 million contract. From Cuba, pitched in Japan from 2020 through 2022. As Elias Diaz, the catcher for the Rockies, bangs one into right field for a base hit. Rodriguez then, Buck, as you well know, didn't pitch the rest of the season after pitching in the WBC last year. Kind of was preparing himself to, he was declared eligible for the draft or to be signed by a major league team, not the draft, eligible to be signed by a major league team, and just kind of was preparing himself. So he doesn't have real innings from last year. Obviously, he kept himself in shape and he threw and so on. And then he had back spasms at the beginning of the spring. So he made 2 major league appearances in the spring, has made 2 appearances for Buffalo. And from the people you talk to, Buck, on the Blue Jays, they are awfully excited about what he might do for the team this year.
I think the Blue Jays, when they first saw him in spring training and then saw him start to go through his routines, got it thinking, you know, maybe he can start for us. I think initially they thought he'd work out of the bullpen in his first year and eventually, you know, move into a starting role. But I think right now they're thinking that maybe he could compete for one of the spots in the rotation. And if that would be the case, that would be a real benefit to the entire organization.
A couple of strikes on Nolan Jones, the Rockies left fielder, a former first-round pick, hitting just .157 so far this year. I talked to Brian Serven, backup catcher now for the Blue Jays and a former Rocky, incidentally. He caught Rodriguez in Sarasota during a spring training game. And I said, tell me about his stuff. And he raved about it. A 4-seamer that has natural cutting action, a 2-seamer, a splitter, a slider, a curve. Couldn't throw a ball straight to save his life. Has some, you know, a little bit of funkiness and hesitation in his delivery to try to create a little bit more deception. And a swing and a miss there. Gausman against Jones. But everybody who has seen or hit off of Rodriguez has nothing but praise for his stuff.
When he walks onto the field first time in spring training, he has the presence of a professional. He looks like a big leaguer. He does everything well. He feels his position well, and you can certainly see the influence of Japanese baseball on his delivery, on his timing, on the way he mixes up his pitches. I think it's going to be very interesting for the Blue Jays, and obviously they've invested a lot of money in him.
Yep. Here's Alaris Montero, the first baseman for the Rockies. Hit .243 in 85 games a year ago, hitting .172 so far this year. Colorado, as we mentioned, off to a 3-10 start. They've played Arizona in 7 of their first 13 games, went 2-5. They also were swept by the Cubs, lost 2 out of 3 to Tampa Bay. They have the worst ERA in the majors, and it's by a wide margin, by like a run and a half. Their team ERA is .657. Some of that is altitude, obviously. They hit less and pitch better on the road.
I think they, like the Blue Jays, 3rd time through the rotation, their pitching has been a little bit better.
Yes.
Buddy Block has been encouraged 3rd time through the rotation how the pitchers have fared.
Yep, Dakota Hudson, who will start tomorrow. He's pitched well so far. Fastball, and that's grounded into right field for a base hit for Montero. Diaz up to second.
Just a couple ground balls for base hits, and you can see the target by Kirk, and he hit his spot. 95, not a bad spot. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap to a hitter, and he stayed on it, didn't try to do too much with it, and Montero comes up with a base hit.
So here's the second baseman, Brendan Rodgers, and another guy slow out of the gates, hitting .174. And a slider there swung on and missed. Rodgers is from Winter Park, Florida. That's just north of Orlando. He lines one to right center field, and this is going to get down and get all the way to the wall. And a run is going to come in to score. And 3 times in this inning, a right-handed batter has taken Gausman Buck to the opposite field.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. They've all had a very good approach against Gausman. A couple of singles through the right side of the infield, and Rodgers with his 4th double of the season. Goes the other way again. Notice trying to get it up, and it's not up high enough, and it's 94. They mentioned Gausman just trying to execute his pitches. You want that pitch higher, and he didn't get it up high enough, and Rogers cashes in.
First RBI of the season for Rogers. And he's out there having a little chat with a guy he's known a long time. Both Rogers and Bo originally from the Orlando area, although Bo went to high school in St. Petersburg. But Bo Bichette and Brendan Rodgers know each other going back to their childhood days. Played on all-star teams together. So they've known each other a long time. Infield is in on the corners, back up the middle, and quickly it is 0-2 on the Colorado right fielder, Michael Toglia. Former first-round pick out of UCLA, hitting 160 on the season.
Yeah, Toglia, he's got some power. He's got 3 home runs and 6 RBIs, just hitting 160. A lot of swing and miss in his approach right now.
And this is where Gausman's really looking for a strikeout with a runner at third and 1 out. Couldn't get Toglia to chase the splitter. All 3 hits for the Rockies coming on fastballs, and all of them right-handed batters taking the ball to the opposite field. Another splitter, 2-2. Bounce to first. Guerrero, they got the runner hung up between third and home. Vladdy's going to run at him, and the end result is going to be 2 Rockies near third. They will put the tag on Montero to get him. Rogers safely to third, and Toglia got to second on the play.
Yeah, Vladdy did the right thing. There's such a tendency and a feeling like I got to throw the ball, but Vladdy didn't throw it, and he got the runner at third base in a rundown, and right here he's thinking about throwing it, but now all you got to do is run it to runner. Make him commit in one direction or the other, and now Vladdy runs him back to third, where as he puts the tag on him, the runners move up. But that's an important rundown right there. Now it's up to Gausman to get the number 9 hitter,
who is Brenton Doyle, the center fielder. Doyle hitting .283 with a couple of home runs in the early going. 25-year-old former 4th-round pick. He is in his 2nd year in the big leagues. Didn't hit much last year, but he won a Gold Glove out in center field in the National League as a rookie, becoming the first rookie in the National League to ever win a Gold Glove in the outfield.
Yeah, and they count an awful lot on Nolan Jones and Brenton Doyle to be the foundation of this team. A couple of very young, very athletic outfielders. We had a lot of guys compare Doyle to Kevin Kiermaier today, talking to the Rockies coaching staff. So the same type of player, just a little bit bigger physically.
Gausman out in front of ball and 2 strikes. Splitter down low, 2-2.
When a pitcher goes to the mound, he's on a little bit of a surveying expedition himself. You know, you go to the bullpen, you warm up, and then you go to the mound, so you got a little more adrenaline once you hit the game mound, and he's trying to figure out where his fastball is right now.
Got it. He strikes out Doyle, 3rd strikeout of the night, but the Rockies do get a run, and it's all tied up at 1 here going to the bottom of the 2nd.
Download the betting app and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
On to the bottom of the 2nd. Welcome back. Dan Schulman, Buck Martinez, Arden Zwelling, the Rockies and the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 2nd of a 1-1 tie. And it'll be Dalton Varsho, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and Kevin Kiermaier hitting for the Jays here, bottom 2. Varsho, a guy obviously the Rockies pretty familiar with. Spent his first few years in the big leagues with Arizona. And he gets a hold of one, hits it to right field. Did he get enough of it? He sure did. First home run of season for Dalton Varsho, and it's 2-1 Blue Jays.
Swing by Dalton Varsho, and it has to be a great feeling for him to get that 0 off the board. First home run, first RBI, as Dan mentioned, and he has changed his approach at the plate. And last year he was a tinkerer. He would switch, and if he didn't feel something, he'd change. And this year he's stuck with the program, and it's starting to pay off. That's a great feeling for him, I'm sure. We spoke about that before during batting practice. I said, "Are you staying with the plan?" He says, "Yep, I'm staying with the plan. I felt really good in my last start, and I think it's carrying on to this game."
Now Kiner Falefa lifts one down the right field line. Tolia running out of room. How about another look?
First pitch, home run. Dalton Varsho went up there with a good idea what he wants to hit, and he got his pitch down. That fastball down out over the plate, that's in his wheelhouse. And he didn't miss it. He hit it high and deep into the seats in right. Always a good feeling to get that first one out of the way.
Yeah, got up to a slow start, and as you said, staying with the program, but got to be nice to look up at the scoreboard now and see the numbers changing a little bit. And you also get a massage from Ernie Clement when you hit a home run early.
Ernie's just a good teammate.
Yeah,
He's always there for anybody.
Yep. Executive Vice President of Positive Vibes. Clement, Davis Schneider not in the lineup. You saw both of them in the dugout tonight, but obviously available to come in later. And given the way we've seen John Schneider manipulate the lineup, pretty good chance they'll be in there later. Kiner Falefa reaches for one, bounces it to third, and the play is made by McMahon. One down. Opening game of a 3-game series between the Blue Jays and the Rockies. The Varsho home run putting the Blue Jays back on top. Here's Kevin Kiermaier. And Kiermaier looking to find it right now. He is off to a slow start this season. And it doesn't seem like he gets many fastballs these days. He hit the fastball very well last year, and he's been getting a steady diet of breaking balls and changeups so far in the early going.
Yeah, he was one of the best fastball hitters in all of baseball last year. And then he came into camp saying, "I'm going to try and hit the ball a little bit harder." And maybe that's gone a little bit south with him. You can see the numbers last year, 314. This year, he's just not getting many fastballs. And when he does get them, he's not hitting them.
That's the slider, and it's fouled back.
That's a very hittable pitch right there. It's on the plate. It's a slider, but not a whole lot of break to it. At 90 miles an hour, I mean, that's a pedestrian fastball that doesn't break much.
It really feels and looks more like a cutter, doesn't it,
yeah,
than a slider, because it is kind of a small late break. That's a changeup that missed up and away in a full count. Top of the order, George Springer on deck. Fastball in on his hands. It's popped up back of the plate. And just on the right side of the screen from a Blue Jay perspective. Chris Bryant and the Rockies here in town as they open up a road trip. After here, they'll go to Philadelphia for 3. Fastball shot the other way, a fair ball. Jones retrieving it in the corner, but easily into second base on the play is Kevin Kiermaier.
Now that's a Kevin Kiermaier swing right there. Very level swing, stayed on it. 2-strike approach, first double of the season. And watch how he stays back and stays on that pitch. It wasn't a bad pitch. It was on the outer part of the plate. And with 2 strikes, he just slaps it down the left field line. And with his speed, it's going to be a easy double.
And now here's Springer. Bounces one up the middle, and the second baseman Rogers will make the play to get George. 2 down as Kiermaier comes to third. So with 2 outs and a runner at third, it's going to be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. trying to increase the Blue Jays lead. Vladdy flied out to center in his first at bat. Swings at the first pitch and lifts it down the first baseline. And Montero is there in foul territory to retire the side. But the Blue Jays have the lead again thanks to Dalton Varsho. First pitch he saw, first home run of the season. 2-1 Jays.
Though his mind is not for them.
Well, Dan updated you earlier on Danny Jansen, who is catching for Buffalo this weekend, likely to rejoin the Blue Jays on Monday here in Toronto. And he's going to be busy catching the 3 pitchers on his right. Each of them is going to pitch on Saturday in the first game of the doubleheader for Buffalo that Alek Manoah will start. He's going to be aiming for around 70 to 75 pitches. Biggest focus for him is going to be refining that control and command after he threw only 26 of his 58 pitches for strikes in his first rehab outing with Single A Dunedin. And then Eric Swanson and Jordan Romano are both going to be making subsequent rehab appearances with Buffalo. They each pitched for the Bisons on Thursday. They're going to pitch again on Saturday, and depending on how that goes, each could be available for that critical Yankees series starting on Monday, Dan.
Arden, thank you. Yeah, so a lot of eyes will be on the Bisons tomorrow to see how all of that goes. There figures to be a number of roster changes for the Blue Jays. Roster moves for the Blue Jays in the next few days, and not mentioned there by Arden, but as he mentioned earlier, we mentioned earlier, Yariel Rodriguez is here, has a locker in the clubhouse. John Schneider said could very well be activated at some point this weekend. It certainly sounds like that is going to be for tomorrow's game. Top of the order, Ezequiel Tovar. Ooh. Gosman got a break there, and it's 1-2.
He'll take it. He'll take a break. This good-looking kid, isn't he? Just 22 years old, from Maracay, Venezuela. You know who he reminds me of right now, just looking at him? Ozzie Guillen. Standing at shortstop, he just has that same kind of composure. And I spoke to him before batting practice today. Really nice young man, very confident, believes in himself, obviously.
You could see where Kirk wanted that fastball up at the top of the zone, fouled off by Tovar.
Yeah, I think that's more important than velocity, hitting his spots. If Gosman can locate the pitches where he wants to effectively, I don't think he'll be concerned about touching 97 today.
And lined into right center. And a base hit for Tovar. You and I were talking during the break. Why, in your estimation, do so many righties get their best contact off Gosman to the opposite field?
Because they have the splitter on their mind, and they're always thinking about staying back and hitting that splitter. And even when he throws his fastball, doesn't hit it in a good spot, they go the other way. And that splitter had too much of the plate. Gosman wanted to throw it out of the strike zone. He left it up in the zone. But again, it's more important about location than it is about velocity.
So because it's a splitter, wait as long as you can to try to recognize if it's a fastball or a splitter. And if it's a fastball, since you've waited, yeah, you hit it to the opposite field.
It's going to go the other way.
There's Ryan McMahon. Runner goes.
No chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
Got a great jump.
He got a running start for Tovar. He was on the move, his second steal. He's a good all-around player. That's why they gave him that long extended contract very early in his career. You could see he was on the move before Gosman began his delivery to the plate. Before he picked up that front leg, he had taken off for second.
And now 3-0 on McMahon. Green light. He swings through it. 3-1. Tovar at second. Nobody out here in the third. Blue Jays 2, Rockies 1. Fastball catches the corner. 3-2.
Yep, good spot. Got it down and away.
Chris Bryant on deck. And into right field, a base hit. Tovar will come in to score. McMahon is on his way to second and in there as the Rockies have tied it again.
That looked like a splitter that once again got too much of the plate, and you could see that McMahon was out in front, just a little bit ahead with his body, but he was able to keep his hands back. And you can see 87 down out of the zone, and that is truly a split, and not a bad one, but you can see how he stays back and just pulls it past Vladdy into right.
And generally when Gausman throws a splitter down there, it's a swing and a miss.
Yeah. Now, he hasn't had many swings and misses in his last 2 starts.
Chris Bryant struck out his first time up. This one popped up shallow right. Guerrero out, Biggio out, and Biggio takes charge to make the play. He had the much better angle to catch that than Guerrero did.
Yeah, Vladdy was going to have to catch it over his shoulder, and Cavan called him off, and then Vladdy pulled out of the way, made an easy play for Biggio.
So one down. Here's Elias Diaz, who got things started in the second for the Rockies with a base hit. You know, it's been kind of a funny night if you just look at some of the results for Gausman. That's the 16th swing and miss he's gotten tonight. That's a lot for this point of the game. But when they've squared him up, they've squared him up pretty good with some line drives.
Yeah, and most of them have gone to the opposite field. There's another foul ball. Now here's where the extra velocity would help him if he could elevate a high fastball here, and you might be able to finish this off. You know, one thing Gausman did very well last year, he had 47 3-pitch strikeouts. He could finish at bats very effectively. That looked like a slider that was upstairs, so that tells you that he's not really comfortable with his split or his fastball right now.
He'll more often throw that first pitch of the at bat because the hitters don't really swing at that pitch very much. They're not expecting a slider. Steal the strike with it. He tries it again, and that's a base hit. Hit off the end of the bat into center. The runner getting the way. Kiermaier's throw to the plate, not in time. Colorado takes the lead, and Diaz into second.
Well, Kevin Kiermaier did a good job, and he saw Ryan McMahon go back towards second base by a step because it was a line drive, and Kiermaier really charged the ball hard. McMahon's running at second base. This is a line drive over the infield. He goes back a couple of steps. Watch the runner at second. He goes back a couple of steps. Kiermaier picks up on that, and that's why he's charging so hard and makes a very strong throw, but it's just not in time. He sensed that he had a chance because McMahon had made that step back toward second base on that line drive.
So that's 3 runs on 6 hits now for the Rockies off Gausman. The Rockies back on top 3-2 and still just 1 out here in the inning. And the batter was Nolan Jones, who struck out his first time up. Jones finished last year great as a rookie, was the National League Rookie of the Month in September. Hit 20 home runs and 367 at bats a year ago. But this year in 52 at bats, he's now struck out 24 times. Takes a strike.
Yeah, I was talking to the hitting coach Hensley Mullins about Jones. He said he finished up so well last year and didn't have a particularly good spring this year. But because he did so well last year, they felt like they'd go with him and give him a chance to get off to a decent start. That hasn't been the case so far.
And this one is lined to right, and that's going to get to the fence on a bounce. Diaz will come in to score. It's an RBI double for Jones, and it's now 4-2 for the Rockies.
Now, there's an example of the diminished velocity coming into play because he got that pitch in a good spot, but it was just 93 miles an hour. If it's his normal fastball, Jones can't get to it. He throws it up and it's on the inside part of the plate, but at 94 he can get to it. You see, he makes contact out in front and drives it off the wall in right center.
And the Rockies continue to make good contact against Gausman here tonight. Now Alaris Montero with a swing and a foul back. Play on its second, back in safely is Jones. And a moments ago the call to the bullpen happened, and Paulo Espino, Buck, is now starting to warm up.
Yeah, and Espino's only had one outing. He threw very well and got an extended outing pitching in relief, and now he's going to crank it up in a hurry as Gausman has been touched up for 4 runs on 7 hits.
So what do you see tonight? Gausman's velocity is definitely better than it was in New York. He's averaging 94 on the fastball. That's not peak Gausman, but it's much better than it was in New York.
But it's still not where it was in his first start. And remember, they only threw 3 innings in spring training.
Fly ball left field. Varsho going back to the warning track to make the catch for the second out.
But the velocity is definitely down from what he had most of the year last year, from the way he pitched last year. But I think with his splitter especially, it hasn't had that late finish to it, and it stays in the strike zone a little bit more often than he would like, I think. Plus, when you throw 96, 97, hitters have to get their bat out in front, and that's when they become more vulnerable to the split finger pitch.
Now Brendan Rodgers. Rodgers with an RBI double his first time up.
You mentioned the swing and miss and the whiffs in this game early on, but they're going up there hacking. And you know what? This team's gotten off to a slow start too, and it might be just a situation. Say, hey, we got to change something, fellas. Let's just start swinging the bats and be a little more aggressive.
Oh. 0-2 as Gausman gets a call on the inside corner.
That was his best fastball to this point. .95 there. Rodgers got a piece of it. We mentioned the 47 3-pitch strikeouts last year. That was second only to Spencer Strider, who had 67. Jose Barrios also had 47 3-pitch strikeouts last year, and that's what I like to see. You get a hitter in a vulnerable position, put him away.
And he got him. Swing and a miss at the splitter as Gausman strikes out Rodgers, but the Rockies have the lead again. It's 4-2 Colorado, going to the bottom of the third with 3-4-5 coming up for the Jays. Day of the season. It is Junior Jay's opening day. Enjoy games, prizes, artists, and more. And be sure to stick around post-game where kids 14 and under can run the bases. Head to BlueJays.com/Junior Jays to get your tickets today. That'll be the final game of this series. Jose Barrios will be on the mound. Left-hander Kyle Freeland for Colorado. And here's Bo Bichette leading off the bottom of the third. The Blue Jays down 4-2. Bichette had a base hit, stole a base, and scored back in the first. This one off the end of the bat and popped up for Rogers. One down.
That's a slider that Feltner will start on the plate and trying to get you to chase, and that time Bo hit it off the end of the bat and pops out. I like this guy. This guy's got a chance to be a good pitcher, especially in Colorado. Everything is down. He throws the slider, should be able to get a lot of ground ball outs. I think they're pretty high on Ryan Feltner.
Here's Justin Turner. Turner walked his first time up. Bo frustrated, very frustrated.
A little surprising, a little tense right there. I think he was probably a little disappointed. He went after that first pitch, a borderline slider.
And now Turner's popped it up. Foul territory. And Montero's got room, and that's 2 down.
You know, talking about Feltner, last year he was pitching in May against the Philadelphia Phillies. And in the second inning on a 1-1 pitch, he threw a slider to Nick Castellanos, and he got hit in the head. And he suffered a fractured skull. And he was transferred to the 60-day injured list on May 29th and did not come back until September, but he made 2 starts at the end of the year. I honestly don't know how pitchers do it, to stand that close to the guys that hit it 100 miles an hour and deliver a pitch with confidence. And I've said it many times, I think being a successful starting pitcher in the major leagues is the toughest position on the field.
Yeah.
To be able to succeed with what they have to do. Of course, Chris Bryant was hit when he was pitching for Oakland. He got hit in the face, and he came back in the regular season and pitched. Chris Bassett, of course. But yeah, the whole thing is, I mean, you throw that pitch and you're a lot closer than 60 feet away when you deliver the pitch, and then that ball comes at you at 100 miles an hour.
Remember, it happened to Mike Messina. It happened to Chris Carpenter back in the day when he was pitching for the Blue Jays.
It's happened to so many guys, and some guys can't come back, but I admire guys that can get hit and then come back in the same season. And
68 goals, 3 games remaining. Can he get to 70? Catch the Leafs as they host the Red Wings tomorrow on Hockey Night in Canada, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet and CBC. Here, Rockies 4, Blue Jays 2. Top of the 4th inning. Kevin Gausman at 64 pitches has given up 4 runs on 7 hits, as Michael Toglia, the number 8 hitter for the Rockies, the right fielder, will lead it off. Looked like a backdoor slider there that missed outside. Ball 1.
He's mixing it up a little bit more than we normally see from him, using that slider to try to steal a strike every now and then.
This one towards the left field corner, and Varsho's got room to make the play. 1 down. So now the number 9 hitter, Brenton Doyle, who struck out in his first at bat tonight. Call on the corner, 0-1. And another one. It's 0-2. A couple of pitches borderline that both go Gausman's way, and Doyle has asked for his timeout.
Fastball slider to get ahead 0-2.
Splitter taken low.
You know, the splitter by definition is a split fingered fastball, and the fastball and the splitter go hand in hand. They complement each other, and you have to throw a lot of strikes with your fastball to get swings and misses with your splitter, and he hasn't really had great command of his fastball.
This one to right center, and it's going to drop for a base hit. Springer will play it on a bounce.
Make it up Friday with McCain, official French fry of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Man, if I hadn't had too many waffle fries at dinner, I'd be right down there right now. Paolo Espino is up again in the bullpen. He was up last inning. You can see Jeff Ware, the bullpen coach, is on the phone for the Blue Jays, and obviously Espino has been told that it could be getting close. They'll monitor Gausman here this inning.
Doyle at first base had 22 steals a year ago. He is 0 for 1 so far.
Draws a throw and dives back in safely.
Pretty quick, pretty good pickoff by Gausman there. Dover had a steal in the third inning, came around to score the second Rockies run.
Not going. And it's popped up shallow left. Varsho over to his right, has lots of room to make the play. 2 down.
Yeah, Kevin Gausman used a pretty effective slide step right there to kind of neutralize the threat of a steal. Watch how abbreviated his stride is to home. Just lifts up that foot and drives it quickly to the batter every once in a while. And he's very aware that he takes a long time to unload. As you see now, Cabrera has joined Espino down in the bullpen.
It's like Cabrera just kind of soft tossing at the moment, not really letting it go. 2 down as here's Ryan McMahon. Gausman's velocity not only fluctuating start to start, which is to be expected, but also kind of inning to inning here tonight. He's been up as high as 95 and 96, but he's also thrown a couple of 91s and a 90 here this inning on the fastball.
Yeah, it's all about rhythm and timing, and you know you're not going to be at your peak until everything is together in sync. Kevin just hasn't pitched much this spring. You go back to spring training, through 3 innings, his final outing against the Pirates in Bradenton. And he was experiencing some overall body soreness, and Pete Walker, they figured like, and when he threw that game against the Pirates, his 97 fastball was there.
Yeah.
But, you know, spring training is long for the pitchers. There's no getting around it. You need to have those regular ups, and he told me that he wanted to have 5 ups and 75 pitches before he left spring training. That was at the start. He never got close to that.
Two and 1 the count on Ryan McMahon. And a soft liner into left for a base hit. Doyle up to second on the play, 2 on with 2 outs, and Chris Bryant now coming up for Colorado.
And this is a hard decision for a manager. You want your starter to really get into a groove and try to get things sorted out, but there's another pitch just kind of tumbled up there and didn't have that late bite that this splitter normally has. But he and Pete Walker, I'm sure, are saying, man, I'd like him to get out of this and give him another inning so he can get on a roll and start to develop what we know that's there. But at the same time, you're thinking about, I got to make a move here and save this game.
This is the most pitches that Gausman has thrown in an outing, either spring training or regular season. About to throw number 77 here tonight.
Now here's where the conversations continue. What do you think, Pete? Well, I don't know if I see anything that's going to benefit him for going any further than this. 77 pitches. They're going back and forth down in that dugout right now.
To left center field. And Kiermaier can't get to it. It's off the wall on a bounce. Varsho will play it back into the infield, but it's a 2-run double for Chris Bryant, and it's now 6-2 for the Rockies.
Yeah, that's probably made the decision for John Snyder, and there he's calling for the right-hander, Espino.
So Espino on his way in, 3 2/3, 6 runs allowed for Kevin Gausman tonight. Still trying to ramp up and get back to where he has been so consistently for the Blue Jays over the last couple of years. Espino on his way in. Well, another tough outing for Kevin Gausman. He goes 3 2/3, 6 runs allowed, 10 hits. Bryant at second, his responsibility. And we'll wait and see after the game what he says about how he felt and where he is at right now. But again, hopefully Bucket's just building up that crispness, that strength in his arm. Again, having pitched so little in the spring, but 2 tough ones in a row for a guy who was a Cy Young finalist last year.
Yeah, and you know what? It's unfortunate they came in back-to-back outings, but it'll be interesting. And thinking back to when Snyder hit the mound, Kevin Gausman was saying some things to him, covered up his mouth so nobody could see what he was saying, but more than likely is, hey man, you know, let me get through this and I'll be okay. Just let me work my way through this. But he's just going to have to get onto his delivery and his timing and rhythm, and that's how you're at your best. Whether you're hitting a golf ball or hitting a baseball, it's all rhythm, balance, and timing. And right now he's just not there.
And you can see he's feeling it. Ground ball down to third. And Falefa throws out Diaz to retire the side, but the Rockies now lead 6-2. You're watching Friday Night Blue Jays baseball, presented by McCain.
Well, you saw the frustration from Bo Bichette in the bottom of the third after he popped up chasing a breaking ball. And, well, this young season's been a frustrating one, a test of patience for Blue Jays hitters who are consistently putting themselves in good situations but struggling to execute once they get here, once they get there. And here's what I mean. The Blue Jays are among the league leaders in what you could call approach stats. So you think about chase rate, pitches per plate appearance, walk rate, 3-1 counts seen. The approach has been sound, but the Blue Jays are towards the bottom of the league in what you could call execution stats. So that would be hard hit rate, barrel rate, slugging with runners in scoring position. The Blue Jays are creating plenty of run scoring opportunities. They're putting themselves into advantageous situations at the plate, but just haven't squared up pitches within those opportunities to ultimately cash runners. You need to do both to score runs at this level. Dan, that is a primary reason why the Blue Jays are also among the league leaders in runners left on base.
Arden, thank you. And yes, the offense certainly hasn't executed like they would have wanted to. Maybe to borrow a boxing analogy, Buck, like the Blue Jays are landing some jabs, but they're not getting that uppercut, that roundhouse, that knockout punch. They're getting them on, but they're not getting them in as much as they need to.
Yeah, and I think there's one good thing in that report from Arden, the fact that they aren't chasing pitches. Remember, that was a concern last year. They chased a lot of pitches out of the zone, and there are times when they get themselves into hitter counts and they get a good pitch to hit, but they miss it. They don't hit it hard. They flare it off. They foul it off. But if you stick to the plan and you continue to believe in this approach, we believe these hitters are going to come around.
The worst thing you can do is put too much pressure on any one guy to be a savior or anything like that, but I think everybody in the third base dugout and in the organization is looking forward to getting Danny Jansen back soon, getting his power. Hopefully he can stay healthy and have a good, productive Danny Jansen kind of season.
Yeah, and Danny has just now, the last couple of years, figured out who he is as a hitter, and he's an important part of this team. Not only from the offensive standpoint, but from the leadership behind the plate.
But even if he's at his best, just 1 of 9, and it's going to take more results up and down the lineup for this team.
No question about it. We've talked about this before. I mean, how many World Series have the Angels won with the best player in the world? None. It takes a team, and it takes everybody to do what they're supposed to do. Your stars have to be your stars. There's no question about that, and the Rockies are going through that right now. Chris Bryant's not delivering. They expect Brendan Rodgers to be more offensively. Your stars have to be your stars, and then the complementary pairs just fill out the rest of that offense. When teams have exceptional years offensively, the stars have their regular season, and then everybody else has a career year, and that's how you win World Series.
2-2 on Varsho, who homered his first time up, his first of the season.
But when you think about the Dodgers and the Braves and the Yankees when they're good, you know, the Judges and Stantons are doing their thing, Acuña's and Olsons are doing their things, Freeman and Betts are doing their thing, and everybody just kind of relaxes and falls in line behind them. I think the worst thing you can do is think that you're going to hit 30 home runs when you're a 15 home run hitter. That creates problems.
That'll be off the glove of Montero, and Varsho's going to reach.
2 for 2. Hit that ball sharply. The first baseman Montero dove for it, knocked it down, but he hit it in the direction of second base. So Dalton has homered, now a single, 4-seam fastball. It's hit sharply. That one's a little higher than the ball he hit out of the ballpark in his first at bat. 3-hopper off the glove of the first baseman.
So second hit of the night for Varsho. He's at first with 1 out for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who grounded out his first time up. He did his part in the Seattle series, went 5 for 8 with a couple of doubles. In the first 2 games, the Blue Jays swung the bats better. They didn't in the third game.
Yeah, he's really starting to come around a bit, getting more comfortable. I think, too, he's playing a lot more than he played last year. Having a chance to get some regular at-bats. He's been squaring up the baseball better than the Major League average.
Varsho the lead. And a strike taken by Kiner-Falefa, 2-1.
You know, John Snyder talks about it all the time when he talks about how do you be a good teammate. He said, be the best version of you. Whoever you are, just make sure you're the best version of yourself. And for Kiner-Falefa, he knows who he is. He understands. I'm a line drive hitter. I get on base. I can steal occasionally. I can move the runners. He says, I like to do the dirty parts of baseball. Get him over, get him in, cash him in, make good defensive plays.
That's a foul ball. Managers appreciate those kinds of plays.
You got to have them.
Yeah.
Everybody got to roll. That's why the roster has 26 men on it. Everybody's got a part to play in it.
Again, the 2-2. And that's there. 96-mile-an-hour fastball to get him. 2 down.
Velocity and location has a good combination. And here's another 4-seam fastball. He drives it right to the inside corner. And if Kiner-Falefa couldn't pull the trigger, had plenty of the plate on the inside.
So 2 down, and here's Kevin Kiermaier, who's trying to bunt for a base hit. And he'll succeed. As the throw from Diaz pulls Montero off the bag, and the Blue Jays have a couple of men on with 2 down.
This is a new field here at Rogers Center, and the turf is very, very soft. And he gets it on the turf, and it takes the velocity off the ball. Diaz's throw is wide of the mark. Montero comes off the base to make sure it doesn't go down the right field line. It'll be a base hit for Kevin Kiermaier. He's 2 for 2.
So here's kind of what Arden was talking about. They're getting them on. Now can they get them in? George Springer is the batter. And they've already had a 2-out run producing hit here tonight. Kevin Biggio with a 2-out RBI single back in the first. Fouled off, 1-1.
That looked like a backup slider, like that ball stayed inside. And George Kirby, the Mariners, threw the Blue Jays a lot of backup sliders in that game on Wednesday. And just, it's a hard pitch. You see the spin, you expect it to break, but it doesn't. It actually comes inside.
But the pitcher's not generally intending to throw it there, right?
He's not trying to throw it. But as a hitter, you see the spin, and it suggests it's going to break, but it never does. Because the pitcher doesn't get on top of it, it gets on the side of it. It's kind of a cement mixer slider.
That base hit for Kiermaier, his 17th career bunt base hit. Haven't seen him do it a ton as a Blue Jay. Here's a bouncer towards second. Rogers makes the play, almost threw it away, but Montero saved him, and the Blue Jays are retired, leaving a couple of men on. For Kevin Gausman tonight, 3 2/3, 6 earned runs on 10 hits, a lot of hard contact through 78 pitches. Again, had a lot of swings and misses, 18 swings and misses, but Buck, a lot of hard contact as well.
Yeah, he would get those swings and misses and then get into a position where he could finish the at-bats, and then he just couldn't execute that pitch to get him out of those at-bats. And he left a few splitters over the heart of the plate. Didn't really have that good finish on his fastball, and Colorado made him pay.
So top 5, and the Rockies up 6-2. Paulo Espino got the last out of the 4th, and will face Nolan Jones here in the 5th. There's the curveball, and it's one of the things they say about Paulo Espino. He can really spin the ball. He's got the slider and the curveball. You saw that slow curve there. A changeup he has brought much more into his repertoire this year as he misses with the curve. The fastball's 88-89, but he's out there on guile and movement and changing speeds and just trying to keep you off balance. That's the change.
Yeah, and you know what? He's perfectly suited to be a long man. And generally, it's not a glamorous role, but I mean, he's glad to be pitching in the big leagues in any role. But you come into a game like this, your team's down by 4. If you can throw up some zeros, give your team a chance to get back in it, they don't fall any further behind. It's a big, important role.
Fastball hit to right field, and it is gone. Into the second level, up above the visiting bullpen, Nolan Jones with his first home run of the season, and it is 7-2.
Well, we mentioned Jones finished up very strong last year, and he's notoriously a slow starter. And obviously he was really struggling coming into this game. Just 8 for 51. Now he's 2 for 3 with a double and a home run here tonight. And you can see everybody is very, very pleased about the way he's swung the bat so far tonight.
Now Alaris Montero, who's 1 for 2, had a base hit his first time up. 8 of the 9 Rockies already have a hit in this game. Michael Toglia, who's a couple of spots away, the only one who doesn't.
This looks to be a four-seam fastball, but it works its way right over the heart of the plate. And Nolan Jones is a big guy. He's 6'5". He put a good swing on that pitch. And this ball was a no-doubter off the bat. George Springer just kind of turned and looked at it, went high over his head into that second deck.
And a curveball swung on and missed, 2-2. Espino is 37 years of age, from Panama, previous major league experience with the Brewers, the Rangers, and then the last few years a fair bit of time with Washington. A total of 82 major league appearances with the Nationals over the last 4 seasons. Came in as a non-roster invitee. Curve again, popped up shallow right, and Springer there. Now Brendan Rodgers, who has an RBI double, and he's also struck out. Two and 0. Chris Bryant's got an RBI double tonight. Nolan Jones has a home run. Actually, Bryant's was a 2-run double. Jones has doubled and homered. Change up there. The Rockies off to just a 3-10 start, matching the worst in franchise history. Came into being in 1993, and they've had some very good teams. There's Charlie Blackmon, who we were told before the game is under the weather. Don't know if he's available later on, but not in the lineup tonight.
He's their best player and has been for a long time. That's a good pitch right on the corner. Yeah, Charlie Blackmon is starting to feel a little bit better, and Buddy Black told us he might be available if needed tonight.
Best year the Rockies ever had was 2007, when they got crazy hot at the end of the year and wound up going all the way to the World Series before they were swept by the Red Sox. Excuse me. Todd Helton, Matt Holliday, Troy Tulowitzki.
Yeah,
on that
Brad
team.
Hopp was on that team.
I think between the regular season, a 1-game playoff, and then the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, I think they won 21 out of 22.
Yeah. They won 21 games, I think, in September at that point. Jeff Francis was on that team, and he's here tonight. I saw Jeff and his son and daughter before the game. And he lives in London, and he was part of that great team in 2007. Clint Hurnell was the manager of that team at that point.
And then the other, I guess, other than that, the most notable era for the Rockies, the Blake Street Bombers back in the mid to late 90s. Larry Walker, the Hall of Famer. Andres Galarraga, Vinny Castilla, and Dante Bichette. And it seemed like each of those guys was driving in 100 runs every single year. Bichette, of course, Bo's dad, and Bichette drove in 100 or more runs 5 years in a row with the Rockies in the 90s. And then later on, for 1 year, Dante Bichette was the hitting coach for Colorado. That was 2013. And a teenaged Bo would come out and take BP and just hit bombs at Coors Field.
That's one of the coolest nicknames of a team I think we've ever heard, the Blake Street Bombers.
Yeah, that they were. It's just so different there than anywhere else because of the altitude. It's just a different game. You know, the fences are deeper, obviously, and that's great. That might reduce the home runs a little bit, but then the outfield is huge, and balls are in the gaps, and base hits are dropping in front of outfielders, and it's just tough to keep offense down.
Yeah, you could use 4 outfielders there at Coors Field, and that might not be enough.
Tolia swinging a miss. And there's one name we haven't mentioned tonight, but Colorado's got a new pitcher this year. Cal Quantrill is a Rocky. Had a very good outing his last time out. He won't pitch in this series.
Yeah, I saw Cal before the game, and one of the first things he asked me is, how's Romano doing? He's still got a little bit of a Blue Jays connection there. Of course, his dad pitched so long for the Blue Jays, and I'm sure Cal was a Blue Jay fan as a kid. And he wanted to know how Jordan Romano was. I said, he's just fine. He's going to be back real soon.
You know, all Canadians know each other. We all check in on each other, right? So Cal's, very big in terms of representing Canada internationally, of course, and he likes to keep tabs on how the other Canadian guys are doing. Couple of strikes on Doyle, who uses his timeout. He has struck out and had a base hit tonight. There's Cal. He and Dad Paul from Port Hope, Ontario. Paul, for those who are too young to know, pitched for the Blue Jays among many other teams. Paul was an all-star for the Blue Jays one year back in the 90s.
He used to threaten me all the time when he pitched for me.
Don't take me out?
Yep.
Did you listen?
Oh, no.
Yeah. There's strike 3 called. Espino gets Doyle. 7-2 Rockies going to the bottom of the 5th as we get an update now with Jamie Campbell. Afternoon, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit the 4th longest home run of his career. The Blue Jays would love to see stuff like this with a little more regularity. That was a big moment. Tied the game at 1 before the Mariners won it in extra innings.
Yeah, I thought that's when the Blue Jays were going to win the ball game. When Vladdy hit that home run to lead off the 7th, that tied it up 1-1. They had chances. They had base runners in the 8th and 9th inning, and actually left the bases loaded in the 9th, and then lost it as the Mariners came up big and scored 5 runs in the 10th.
Guerrero, Bichette, and Turner for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 5th, down 7-2. Two 2-0 as Ryan Feltner falls behind. Blue Jays took 2 out of 3 from the Rockies in Denver last September. And again, the Rockies haven't been here in 11 years before tonight. And have never won a game, as Feltner doesn't get a call there. It's 3-0. Have never won a game here. Blue Jays are 9-0 against the Rockies in Toronto.
Yeah, that's the 2nd longest active winning streak at home against one team. Texas Rangers have beaten the Philadelphia Phillies 10 in a row in Texas. That's the longest active home winning streak against one team in the majors.
Guerrero with a leadoff walk. And here's Bo Bichette. You know, it's interesting. Bo has talked about how when he was like that younger kid we talked about, taking BP in Denver, and Bo was a big tennis player, but he'll admit that he didn't have quite the same desire and determination and work ethic, and who among us did, I guess, when you're 13, 14 years old, although some people do. But it sounds like young teenage Bo is a very different guy. We saw the frustration earlier tonight. I mean, he is an incredibly driven and determined person right now, but it doesn't sound like he was always that way. He's kind of grown into that.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, too? I think when he was a kid, you know, his dad was a big league player and a big league coach, and it was like, this is just normal for everybody, and he didn't think too much of it. And then he got a chance to play professionally, and he's been motivated since he signed. I mean, he has been one of the best players wherever he played. And had it not been for an injury late in the season, he would have led the American League in hits for 3 straight seasons. And I don't think there's any question that he's motivated by baseball now.
You can see that every day, pregame, in game. Out of play, 1-2.
He's had a couple of good cuts. Those last 2 swings were very good. And last time up, he popped up on a slider that was probably off the plate away on the first pitch. And that's when he showed his frustration once he got back to the dugout. Covered that pitch pretty well.
It's such a fine line, though, isn't it, on a pitch like that, between fouling it off to stay alive and popping it up?
Matter of inches.
Yeah.
Just a matter of inches. And that's why movement is so important for pitchers. Take it off the barrel.
2-2.
The reaction from the crowd.
Yeah.
2-seam fastball got away from Feltner, runs up and in, and you can see Bo had to bail out, get out of the way.
Grounded to second. And the Rockies turn 2.
Now Tovar comes across the bag. He's got a strong arm, and he was a Gold Glove finalist last year. In fact, he broke the franchise record, broke the all-time record for rookie fielding percentage. Troy Tulowitzki had that record in 2007, and Tovar broke the record last year. Had a great season in the field.
So 2 down. Here's Justin Turner. Turner has walked and popped up in foul territory. The Blue Jays with 2 runs on 6 hits so far. Biggio an RBI single, Varsho a solo home run, accounting for the 2 runs. To right field, shallow, and it's down for a base hit. Tolia couldn't quite get there, and that'll be a 2-out single for Turner.
Well, the second time Justin's been on base tonight, and that's 4 straight home games to reach base multiple times. 4 straight to start the season at home. That ties Lloyd Mosby for the longest such streak. He fights it off, 96, but he hits it in a good spot right in front of the right fielder.
So now Biggio, in addition to the RBI single in the first, he was called out on strikes in the third. Ball got loose. Time was called for a moment. Alejandro Kirk retrieved it, tossed it out of play. Now the pitch clock is running again. They really play capital pull on the infield. McMahon is probably about halfway between second and third. This one bounced up the middle, and the long throw to first is not going to get him. Rogers did everything he could, but Biggio's got another hit. The inning is still going.
Not sure what happened. Brendan Rodgers, after he threw that ball, stumbled to the turf. And you could see Nolan Jones, the left fielder, was concerned. He runs in from left field to check on him. But the momentum from the second baseman going away from first, and the throw is not in time. Biggio hustling down the line, beats out the throw. Clearly safe at first, and then after the throw, Brendan Rodgers fell to the turf and kind of laid there for a minute. That was an alarm for the left fielder, Jones.
And now Kirk, who was 0 for 2 tonight, a strikeout and a ground out, as he continues to search for it. Now hitting 140 on the season. He does not have an extra base hit this year. He's got 6 hits, all singles. Foul back. And with Feldner at 93 pitches, Peter Lambert is up now in the Rockies' pen.
Yeah, the Rockies' pen has really struggled to put good innings together. Their bullpen ERA is 6.52.
This is high in the air to right. This is tagged pretty well, but it is caught on the track for the right fielder Tolia, and Kirk and the Blue Jays are retired on that play here in the bottom of the 5th. The Toronto Blue Jays. Well, if we were looking to anoint someone as the fan of the game, I think this guy might be in the conversation. Now, this, granted, it is a home run for the opposing team, but you catch a ball on the fly, and that's worthy of a celebration. You made some new friends, and then, of course, what do you got to chug the beer? I mean, that's just right. That's one of the unwritten rules of baseball. Catch a ball, chug a beer.
And he did.
Jeez.
That's a different atmosphere. Then he gets a beer.
Yeah.
I don't think he went
doused.
on that one.
7-2. The Rockies up on the Blue Jays. Going to the 6th inning. Top of the order coming up. Paolo Espino still on the mound for the Jays. And he'll be asked to absorb as many innings as he can. He's gone an inning and a third so far. He'll face Tovar, McMahon, and Bryant. You know, and we were talking between innings very briefly. That last half inning, you know, go back to what Arden was saying about approach versus execution, getting them on, not getting them in. That last half inning, a leadoff walk, then a double play ball, then 2 hits, and then a fly ball out. And they don't get anything out of it. 3 men on base, but they don't score.
Yeah, and you know, the hits came after the double play, obviously, but yeah, it's been that kind of start for the offense this season.
Oh, 2 curves sent to deep left field, and it is gone over the bullpen and into the seats. A home run for Tovar, his 3rd of the season. It is now 8-2.
And 0-2 curveball, and boy, oh boy, he hit it like a veteran right there. Didn't chase it, stayed back, got enough power to hit it out of the ballpark. He put a good swing on that, and another home run for Colorado. Tovar, as we mentioned, his 3rd home run of the season. He now has 7 RBIs. He's 2 for 4 and has scored 2 and has a stolen base.
Now Ryan McMahon, 2 for 3, a double, a single, a run driven in, and 2 scored.
There you see that big looping breaking ball, and look how he stays back with 2 strikes. Not anxious, didn't get out there, didn't get jumpy at all, just stayed back, and it's a home run into the seats in left. The Rockies came in with a -35 run differential, worst in baseball, and right now they are up by 6.
And that's a fair ball. Springer corrals it, but not before McMahon is into second with his 2nd double and 3rd hit of the night.
Yeah, and this Rockies team, we told you how they had gotten off to such a bad start offensively. It certainly doesn't look like it. And there's another curveball, and the Rockies have picked up on Espino and the fact he's going to throw you a lot of curveballs. That ball just missed that jet out in the fence down there and goes all the way down into the corner.
So now Chris Bryant, who had a 2-run double his last time up, he's 1 for 3. And he got hit.
Just kind of bent into that breaking ball. It was a slow curveball inside, and he turned his back to it, and he'll go to first base, hit by the pitch.
John Schneider on the phone. Obviously somebody's going to be getting up in the pen right now. And Pete Walker is out to the mound to buy some time for whoever it is.
Well, this is an interesting development, and tomorrow's start is scheduled to be Bowden Francis, but Rodriguez is in the ballpark. He's going to pitch at some point, probably tomorrow. Whether it's a start or not, we don't know, obviously. And now Mitch White's going to begin to throw for the Blue Jays down in their bullpen. And all you can do as a manager is just deal with what you see on a given night, and you have to do whatever you can to finish out this game, and then assess what you have after the game and make decisions as to how you're going to deploy your pitchers tomorrow.
So a run in, a couple of men on, nobody out here in the Colorado 6th, and it'll be Elias Diaz, who was 2 for 3, a couple of base hits, and he's driven in a run. Diaz, one of the foundational pieces of this team as well. He was an all-star last year, and not only was he an all-star, He was the MVP of the All-Star game. Hit a home run late in the game off Felix Bautista, the Orioles, leading the National League to victory.
He began his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Rockies tonight have tied their season high with 13 hits. The most runs they scored 10 runs, and they beat Tampa Bay 10-7.
Popped up, and the infield fly rule is in effect. One down.
This season, we're swinging for doubles. New Bud Light Double Lime, here for a limited time. A refreshing taste that's easy to enjoy.
Opening game of this 3-game series between the Blue Jays and the Rockies. Dan Schulman, Buck Martinez, Arden Zwelling. And it's not going very well for the Blue Jays right now. They led early 1-0 and 2-1. But the Rockies have scored in each of their last 5 times at bat. The only inning in which they didn't score was the first. And they now lead 8-2. Feltner gave up some base runners tonight, but held the Blue Jays to just 2 runs to this point. Ground ball to second. Biggio, the flip to Bichette, back to first in time. And Jones grounds into a double play. The Rockies considering whether or not they will challenge, and they will wave it off. So we're going to the bottom of the 6th, 8-2 to Colorado. Friday night Blue Jays baseball presented by McCain. To watch the game this year at Rogers Center, introducing drink rails throughout the renovated lower bowl, giving fans the freedom to watch the game from any angle. Visit BlueJays.com/ticket packs to check out all of the exciting changes. Rockies here this weekend. The Yankees Monday through Wednesday before the Blue Jays hit the road again. But Black has gone to the bullpen for right-hander Peter Lambert.
Peter Lambert making his 5th appearance of this spring. The Rockies bullpen, as we mentioned earlier, has been touched up pretty frequently, but Lambert's off to a good start. 257 earned run average. Does a pretty good job of throwing first pitch strikes,
which he just did to Dalton Varsho. Varsho's 2 for 2, homered in the 2nd, had an infield hit in the 4th. Grounds this one to the 3rd baseman, and McMahon will throw him out. 1 down. So Varsho retired. Now Isaiah Kiner-Falefa comes up. The 3rd baseman for the Blue Jays is 0 for 2. And a wide strike call, 0-1. To center, and right there's Doyle. 2 down.
Number coming out of the pen, throwing strikes and putting pressure on the Blue Jays hitters early. Now following behind, when you come out of the bullpen, you always want to see your pitcher throw a lot of strikes early on before the hitters can really get a feel for what they're dealing with.
Kevin Kiermaier is 2 for 2, double to left, and had a bunt single. Left-handed bats are doing all the damage for the Blue Jays tonight. The 3 of them, Biggio, Varsho, and Kiermaier, have 6 of the 8 hits and have driven in both runs.
And John Snyder has spread them out. He's put Kirk in between Biggio and Varsho, and then IKF between Varsho and Kiermaier.
Grounder pulled to first, and Montero will make the play as the Blue Jays go quickly and quietly here in the bottom of the 6th. Always one of the highlights of a long homestand is the big jackpot, which will go to Jays Care. Proceeds from the amazing April 50-50 will help Jays Care give kids a place on a team where they belong. Get your tickets at bluejays.com/5050 if you are anywhere in Ontario or Nova Scotia. Over $1 million.
Great idea they had to put all these games into a month draw. That's terrific. Everybody gets involved.
Paulo Espino back for the 7th, and the first pitch to Elehuris Montero is ripped into left, and he's got himself a leadoff double. Well, the Rockies started swinging in the very first inning and haven't stopped.
Yeah, and they came in very, very cold with the bats, just like the Blue Jays, but boy, they've erupted tonight. Season high 14 hits now, and they've pounded out some doubles tonight.
That's their 6th double and their 8th extra base hit in this game among the 14 hits they had.
6 doubles is season high as well. They had 5 doubles in Chicago against the Cubs back on the 3rd of April, and they lost that game 9-8.
Brendan Rodgers is the batter. He's got an RBI double. He's also struck out and walked. Mitch White was up briefly in the top of the 6th, and then Espino got out of it, and White has not resumed throwing here in the 7th, at least to this point. And as I say it, well, it's not Mitch White, doesn't look like. Second time tonight we see Genesis Cabrera getting up in the bullpen. This could be trouble. And it is going to drop in between 3 Blue Jays. It'll be a bloop single for Rodgers. Montero to 3rd.
Well, they've got everything falling in their favor tonight as Colorado gets another hit and a double and a single to start this inning. This breaking ball off the end of the bat, and Rodgers can see that nobody's going to make this play. It's out into shallow right. He has to stop at first base as Montero goes from 2nd to 3rd. He had to wait and make sure it was down safely.
So runners on the corners, nobody out, and here's Michael Toglia. He's the only Rocky without a hit in this game. He's 0 for 3 thus far. Outside ball 1. Saw a stat today about Blue Jay pitching, and this is the kind of stat, it's always going to be pretty extreme, but this is extremely extreme, if you will. In Blue Jay wins this year, and we're just a couple of weeks into the season, the team ERA is 1.67. In Blue Jay losses, 7.91. That's extreme. This is grounded to short. Bichette coming home, and they've got Montero hung up. For left, would put the tag on him. 1 down.
Well, Bo made a nice play on that short hop at shortstop. Obviously, with the infield in, you want to cut down that run at the plate. He came in and took a real short hop. Watch how he stays on this ball down low. right there. Scoops it, fires to Kirk, and then they run the runner back to third base. IKF puts the tag on Montero, and they keep the base runners at first and second. Keeps the double play in order. Good play by Bo there.
So now Brenton Doyle, the center fielder, 1 for 3, had a base hit and scored back in the 4th. Hitting in the 9 spot for the Rockies tonight. Curveball misses inside for ball 1. .88-mile-an-hour fastball is there, and it's a ball and a strike. Again, as we mentioned, the Rockies have never won a game in this building. They were here in 2007, 2010, 2013, 0-9 all time. But they got a big lead in this one right now, and it's going to get bigger. Doyle bangs one down into the left field corner. Rogers will come in to score. Tolia held at third. Another double and another run. It's 9-2.
Well, they're getting their hits, and they're getting a lot of extra base hits, and now we're going to have a pitching change as John Snyder comes out, and he's already called for the left-hander down in the pen, Genesis Cabrera. He'll come in and try to get some outs here. 9 runs on 16 hits for Colorado, and they've hit 2 home runs and 7 doubles in this game.
Continue to hit here in the top of the 7th, and in from the Blue Jay bullpen, left-hander Genesis Cabrera.
Cabrera hasn't pitched since Sunday in New York. He threw 22 pitches against the Yankees in that Sunday game. This will be his 5th appearance overall, and you can see the hitters have had their way with Cabrera to this point. .412 average. So the Blue Jays need some zeros on the board, as Colorado has scored in every inning but the first.
Yep. And Ezekiel Tovar, the leadoff man, he's coming up for the 5th time in this game. He is 2 for 4 with a single and a homer. The infield is in for the Blue Jays. That's down and in ball 1. Nine runs on 16 hits now for the Rockies. High in the air to left. Long run Varsho over towards the line. He'll make the catch for the second out, and Tolia is going to tag and score on a very close play. And the sac fly will make it 10-2.
Dalton Varsho has improved his throwing. He has made a couple of slight adjustments on the way he grips the baseball. He made a nice throw. I didn't think he had a chance to make it close, and the Blue Jays are going to look at the play. And they will not ask for the review, but he has a long run to get under it, and then uncorks a strong throw right to Kirk on one hop. But you can see the base runner slides in ahead of the tag. That was a long throw, but Tovar will pick up another RBI with the sac fly.
Now Ryan McMahon, 3 for 4, including a couple of doubles. There are a few lopsided scores around the majors. Not a good night for the American League East so far. Baltimore's trailing Milwaukee 10-1. And the Red Sox are trailing the Angels 7-0. Yankees got rained out tonight. They'll play 2 in Cleveland tomorrow. Jackson Holliday still looking for that elusive first major league hit. He is 0 for 2 tonight, so 0 for 10 so far in his career. And Milwaukee is putting it on Baltimore right now.
That's an interesting matchup. Jackson Chourio of the Brewers, 20 years old, just like Jackson Holliday. They're meeting for the first time. And Milwaukee's had the upper hand in that game.
Ball and 2 strikes to count on to McMahon. And a swing and a miss as Cabrera gets him. 2 more runs though for the Rockies here. 7th inning stretch at Rogers Center. 10-2 Colorado. Well, one of the best things about a ball game is seeing a young fan get a souvenir and have a memory that they will remember for years and years. And this young lady got a baseball at the end of the last half inning, and look at that smile lighting up a whole ballpark.
That's terrific. And you can see Mom's taking a picture. They'll send it to all the relatives. Look what we got tonight. We got a baseball at the Jays game. That's terrific.
Bottom 7. And George Springer lines the first pitch into right field for a base hit. That's Jake Cave out there in right field right now, so he gets it back into the infield.
The Jays saw a lot of Jake Cave this spring as he was with the Phillies in spring training. And they acquired him from Philadelphia right at the end of spring training.
Looks like that's the only defensive change for the Rockies. Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladdy is 0 for 2 with a walk.
Just string some hits together, boys. I'm going to get a little deeper into their bullpen if you can, just to use as many of those arms as you can out of their bullpen.
To third, to second one, double play.
Boy, nice play by McMahon. He has been a Gold Glove finalist the last 3 years at third base, and you can see why. Showing great range as he went far to his left and then made a good feed to Rogers, who turned to the double play. Second double play the Blue Jays have hit into tonight. And there you go again. Base hit, double play, and just like that, the threat of coming back in the 7th is kind of diminished.
Mitch White's up again, so it looks like he'll be coming in for the 8th. And the Blue Jays have had 11 base runners tonight, either by hit or walk, but have scored only 2 runs. Bichette with a grounder to second. And that is that. End of 7, 10-2 Rockies. Let's get a Blue Jays Central update now with Jamie and Joe. Throughout the ballpark, including cricket batting cages. Plus, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays white cricket hat. Visit bluejays.com/cricket to get your tickets today. You ever play cricket?
I took a whack at once.
Like just one singular time?
Wide. I could have used a wider bat.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Maybe you could have snuck one into a big league game and it wouldn't have been noticed. Mitch White is on here, top of the 8th inning. 10-2 Rockies. And Chris Bryant lines one into left for a base hit. Boy, as we said, they came out swinging in the first and they haven't stopped.
Not at all. And this is a little bit more what Bud Black expected from his team. Chris Bryant jumps on the first pitch he sees. They've been aggressive at the plate. Bryant now on base for his last 3 plate appearances. 2-run double hit by a pitch and now a leadoff single.
Now Elias Diaz 2 for 4 with a couple of singles, and he's driven in a run. Breaking ball swung on and missed. 1-1.
Nights like this are very challenging for relievers as you come into a ball game. The hitters have a lot of confidence and they've been hitting the ball hard all night long, and it's tough to really cool them off. 10 runs on 17 hits. 10 runs ties their season high, and 17 hits is a new season high for the Rockies.
You know, last year there were so many times when the offense was struggling, but the pitching staff held it together. And there were 2-1 games, 3-2 games. Right now the issue is neither side is really operating at its peak. The offense is not scoring as many runs as they would like. The pitching has not been as good as it was last year, and it's very, very early in a very long season.
Well, the thing that's encouraging, though, the last 3 starts the Blue Jays have had prior to this one tonight were exceptional. Those 3 guys pitched great, had a great stretch where they allowed just 1 earned run in 19 innings, and then Kenton Gausman, he just hasn't found it yet.
And you hope some reinforcements will bring, some energy and some better results. And again, Yariel Rodriguez looks like he will be on the roster tomorrow. Danny Jansen, Eric Swanson, Jordan Romano all look like they will be active within a few days.
And this reminds me of David Cone when he came here for his first game. He sat in the dugout in Milwaukee, scored 22 runs the night before he pitched. He's like, you want me to pitch after that? Kind of like the same reaction. I'm sure Rodriguez is thinking, man, what do I do to get these guys out? But he'll be fine. He's a confident guy and had good outings in the minors. And back then when Cone was joining the Blue Jays for his first start, he was charting pitches. So he would sit down and write down double to left field, triple to right field, 3-run home run. Man, I got to get these guys out.
22-2. High and a full count.
That was the Harvey Wallbangers of the Milwaukee Brewers, and they were loaded, man.
Given the margin right now, Guerrero's not holding Bryant on. He's got a big lead at first, a full count, and that's ball 4. So a base hit and a walk. First and second, nobody out against White here in the 8th inning. Now Nolan Jones, the left fielder, 2 for 4, an RBI double and a solo home run. Strike 1 called. Texas is playing Houston, and the Rangers are beating up the Astros. It's 8-1 in the 4th inning. And Houston, as talented as they are, and they took 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays, of course, had the no-hitter from Ronel Blanco, and they've got all the, all the players who have been with them for all those ALCS appearances. Houston's 4-10 and looking like they're going 4-11 right now.
Yeah, first-year manager Joe Espada inherited a very good team, but now they're dealing with a lot of pitching injuries, including most recently Framber Valdez. He's got elbow issues.
And on the other side, you got a team like the Pirates playing great. 9-4. They're leading the Phillies tonight, 5-2 in the bottom of the 9th. They were out away from going 10-4 on the season.
They had a pretty good run to start the season last year. I think they got all the way to the 1st of May, and they were still in pretty good shape.
Rockies just 3-10, but for them, this is a great way to start a road trip. 3 here and then 3 in Philadelphia. One, 2, and that's outside. Davis Schneider, Brian Servant in conversation in the Blue Jay dugout. We'll see if John Schneider maybe makes a couple of late subs here in the last couple of innings. Get some guys at bat. As Jones lifts a fly ball to left, Varsho is there. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Good night for Dalton Varsho. He's got his first home run of the season, 2 hits on the night. But that is one of the few bright spots for the Blue Jays in this one. There's a ground ball to short. Bichette to second one. On to first. In time. Nice turn by Kevin Biggio. And Elaris Montero grounds into a double play to retire the Rockies here in the 8th inning. As Bichette, Biggio, and Guerrero combine on the 6-4-3 inning ending double play. Time now for Here's the Defense, presented by Pronamel Active Shield. Strong enamel is the best defense against cavities.
Well, the Blue Jays get a fine turn here as Bichette starts it, throws it to Kevin Biggio, their second double play of the night, and Bo went a long way to his left, made a good throw to the second baseman, Kevin Biggio, who converted the double play. Second double play, they had one to end the 6th and one to end the 8th.
And now Daniel Vogelbach is going to come up. He will pinch hit for Justin Turner. Vogelbach so far on the season 2 for 9 with 3 walks. Just a couple of starts and a few other pinch hitting opportunities.
I wouldn't be surprised to see if he starts tomorrow, and that's probably why John Schneider has chosen to give him a bat tonight. Give him a little head start if he gets that start tomorrow.
The fastball misses outside. Peter Lambert, by the way, I'm sorry, Buck. He's starting his 3rd inning of relief. He needed 11 pitches to get 6 outs in the first 2.
Yeah, he's been throwing strikes, and the Blue Jays have been free swinging. Vogelbach had a big at bat in the pinch hit role in the 9th inning on Wednesday, and he drew a walk, and that loaded the bases. Looked like the Blue Jays were going to win it in the bottom of the 9th, but Ernie Clement popped out to Polanco, made a nice play in shallow right field. That sent the game to extra innings, and then the wheels fell off in the 10th. Blue Jays lost that one 6-1.
6-7 on the season, and looking at 6-8 with Colorado up 10-2 here. There's ball 4. Leadoff walk for Vogelbach. So now Kevin Biggio. Kevin is 2 for 3, had an RBI single in the first. He is now 9 for his last 20. He is one of the guys, and there aren't many of them right now swinging the bats all that well, but Kevin Biggio is one of them. 324 average, 878 OPS. And a guy who, remember, didn't play the first couple of weeks of the spring. Came in with a shoulder problem that really hampered him all winter. Wasn't able to hit as much, to lift as much. So he was behind guys when he got to spring. But boy, did he catch up.
Yeah, and you know, he just bided his time. He didn't push himself. He knew that it was just a matter of time before he felt good enough to pick up a regular spring training routine. And he's carried that good spring finish right into the regular season.
Now Montero coming off the bag. He'll play behind Vogelbach as Biggio takes it low. The most at bats Kevin Biggio's ever had in a season was his rookie year, 2019. He had 354. It's 16 home runs that year. That's a career high too. A swing and a miss here as he is set down by Lambert for the first out. think he's got a shot to the top 354 this year.
Yeah, he certainly has played well to this point. Deserves an opportunity to continue to stay in the lineup. That time that changeup got him. He was out in front of that changeup from Lambert.
So with a 1 down, it'll be Alejandro Kirk, who's 0 for 3. One ball, one strike on Kirk. Nobody up in the Blue Jay pen. Mitch White will work the top of the 9th. And again, we don't know who's going to start tomorrow. Bowden Francis was listed, but John Schneider, for those who were with us earlier in the game, said that it could change. It looks like Yariel Rodriguez is going to be on the roster, but that has not been, said by the team. But he is here in Toronto, and Schneider said, depending on what happened tonight, they could go in a couple of different directions. Arden reported at the beginning of the game that Bowden Francis has been told he will pitch tomorrow, but not necessarily start. So, Buck, maybe it's a piggyback situation between Francis and Rodriguez.
I'd take a little bit different look at Yariel Rodriguez in that he didn't pitch last year. The way that he built himself up, I would take it to say, hey, he's fresh. He hasn't pitched in a year. He's got a chance to really give you some good quality innings. He's a good athlete, and I think he's going to be fine.
And it certainly feels like long term, and he's in the first year of a 5-year deal with the club, like long term they really want to fully explore the possibility of whether he can be a starting pitcher. You try that, and if it doesn't work out, then he can be a weapon, maybe a multi-inning guy in the bullpen. Everybody who's faced him or caught him or seen him, and he's had a lot of success in Japan. He had success in the WBC. A bit of an unknown, but maybe tomorrow is the day we all start finding out a little bit more about him.
Well, being unknown is a good thing for a pitcher when you face major league hitters. They don't know much about you either.
Bounced in, and it's a ball and a strike on Dalton Varsho, who's 2 for 3 with a home run. Looks like Brian Servin's getting ready. Some long faces in that third base dugout tonight. They were up 2-1 at the end of 2, but it's been all Rockies since.
Yeah, you get home and you win the first 2 games of a 3-game series against Seattle. You play into extra innings, and you say, okay, well, we're going to get on a roll here, and then you just can't get things rolling.
Swung on and missed, and the inning is over. End of 8. 10-2 Rockies. Later this month, you can rock the Danny Jansen look here with the Rogers Center. April the 29th, if you're one of the first 15,000 fans here, you'll score an exclusive Jano Bundle giveaway featuring a Danny Jansen new blue replica jersey and a pair of replica glasses. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions to get your tickets today. We believe that Danny Jansen, who was here earlier, is now back in Buffalo, and I think Eric Swanson, Jordan Romano, and Alec Manoah with him, as all 4 are expected to take part in the first game of the doubleheader for the Bisons tomorrow. All kinds of defensive changes here for the Blue Jays. Biggio's gone out to right. Schneider's in at second. Clement is in at short, and Servin is now catching. So John Schneider has used everyone available to him on his bench tonight to get some of the guys not in the lineup a little bit of work and get some of the regulars off their feet, given the margin. Brendan Rodgers sends one to deep left center field. Kiermaier back, jumps, can't catch it, It hits his foot and bounces away from him, and Rogers is on his way to third. A great effort by Kiermaier, but he couldn't come up with it. And that'll be a triple for Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, Kiermaier got there and looked like he timed his leap pretty effectively. But when he went up, he couldn't come down with the baseball, and it kicked off his body. He shaded to the right center side of the bag, and then he gets to the wall, goes up, and then the ball hits beyond his reach and off the wall. And Brendan Rodgers had a big night. He's been on base 4 times. He has a double, a single, and now a triple. Also has walked.
Now Jake Cave getting his first at bat of the night.
Kiermaier, remember his first play as a Blue Jay in his ballpark, made a very similar play like this, but he caught it. He actually got his glove on that ball. And be disappointed he didn't make the catch. He got there and went up and timed his leap perfectly.
Cave coming on defensively.
Yeah. Yep. Where he was in right center and a long run to get to it.
.96 on the corner, 2-2. .97 there from White, fouled off. That's the kind of velocity we heard about in September of last year with the Bisons, and then a little bit at the beginning of spring training. Hadn't seen it quite as much in the regular season.
Now he's been throwing a lot more breaking balls than he has his fastball, but he's had a decent fastball tonight.
97 again.
We mentioned Cave was with the Phillies all spring long, had a good spring. In 326 and plenty of action for the Phillies. Played in 16 games, had 43 at bats and 14 hits. We saw him a lot.
Got to be strange when you change teams right at the end of spring training, and I'm sure a lot of guys know they're in that kind of a position right on the bubble to make a team, and 29 other teams are watching to see who gets put on waivers or let go or something like that. But another drive, this to left center, but this one is playable. Kiermaier is going to make the catch, but it's easily deep enough to score Rodgers and to make it 11-2. Sac fly for Cave.
Yeah, good productive at bat for a guy that comes in as a defensive replacement. I'm sure he's pleased with that at bat. And Colorado's done a little bit of everything tonight when you think about the doubles they've had. They've had 7 doubles and 2 home runs and 2 sacrifice flies. A little bit of everything.
Now Brenton Doyle, and that's going to drop. Got jammed, but he fought it off into shallow center. Well, given the score in this one, the next one can probably not come soon enough for the Blue Jays, and they'll get another crack at it tomorrow afternoon. Blue Jays Central at 2:30 Eastern Time. First pitch at 3:07, and we'll have it for you right here on Sportsnet. Starting pitcher TBA to be announced. Don't know if that'll come after the game tonight or tomorrow morning. We'll wait and see what the post game brings. Ezekiel Tovar coming up for the 6th time. He is 2 for 4 tonight, a base hit, a home run. He's also had a sac fly.
Lots of seasons highs offensively for the Rockies tonight. Season high in runs scored and hits. Brenton Doyle, a season high 3 hits tonight, hitting in the 9th spot.
And Tyler Kinley is going to work the bottom of the 9th for Colorado. They'll send Dakota Hudson to the mound in tomorrow's game. And Hudson's got a 2.38 ERA so far this season.
He was one of the top prospects with the Cardinals a few years ago. First round pick out of Mississippi State back in 2016. He finished 5th in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2019, his first full season with the Cardinals.
Doyle at first, 1 out here in the top of the 9th, and again the 0-2, and fouled off again by Tovar, having a good at bat. Got him. Good breaking ball there from White. 2 down.
White's first strikeout since coming to the game in the 8th inning. He spins that breaking ball up there. That's the old 12-6 breaking ball. It starts right top of the letters and breaks all the way down the bottom part of the strike zone.
So now Ryan McMahon, he's already got 3 hits in this game, including a couple of doubles. That's raised his average up to .404 on the season. Has spent his entire big league career with the Rockies, broken in 2017.
It's already his 3rd 3-hit game of the season.
Yeah, he's basically been a league average offensive player in his career, but boy, has he had a good couple of weeks to start this one. And he went there.
Came into the game hitting .333, and now it's up to .404. It's nice that early in the season you get a few hits and you can jump way up there in the batting average. Doesn't take many hits to get you off those interstate numbers.
Two balls, 2 strikes, the count. Just missed off the corner, full count. Runner is going. This ball is lined toward the left field corner, and that's a fair ball. And with the benefit of the running start, Doyle comes in to score. It's the 3rd double and 4th hit of the night for Ryan McMahon, and that'll make it 12-2.
Yeah, season high 4 hits for McMahon. And he was their hottest hitter coming in, and he continues to swing the bat well. He stays on this pitch down and away, and it slices away from Varsho all the way into that corner. And he made a heck of a play on it, but by the time he got it back in, the runner who had started at first base is going to score easily as Doyle comes all around from first.
Buck, that's the 20th hit of the game for the Rockies. It's the first time they've had 20 hits in a road game because, you know, offense is so inflated in Denver, things can get skewed, but the first time they've had 20 hits in a road game since June the 5th, 2013 at Cincinnati.
Wow. Yeah, Buddy Block was talking about we need to get the offense going, and boy, did they ever. Big time tonight.
A swing and a miss. Chris Bryant strikes out. But the Rockies rather add on 2 more and take a 12-2 lead at the bottom of the 9th. Fans join the Blue Jays in honoring the life and legacy of Jackie Robinson here at the ballpark on Monday, April the 15th. Be among the first 15,000 fans here and you'll receive a Blue Jays Jackie Robinson 42 hat. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions to learn more and purchase your tickets today. Bottom 9, 12-2 Colorado. Right-hander Tyler Kinley in the game.
Tyler Kinley was originally drafted by the Miami Marlins back in 2013. He got to the big leagues initially with Minnesota and then some time in Miami. His last 5 seasons have been with the Colorado Rockies. This will already be his 7th appearance of the season. He's worked a total of just 5 innings coming into this game.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is going to lead it off. Kevin Kiermaier behind him. And then Davis Schneider due to come up third. Kiner-Falefa 0 for 3 tonight. Two runs on 9 hits. Kevin Biggio's got a couple of the hits and one of the RBIs. Dalton Varsho has homered. But not that it was the biggest problem of the night. Certainly that was on the pitching side, but the offense hasn't done a whole lot, although Kiner-Falefa trying to change that, and he has hit it out. His first as a Blue Jay.
Yeah, he hit a long way, almost 400 feet to left center, and I'm sure that that's a good feeling, but at the same time I know he would rather that come in a winning effort, not in a game where they've given up 12 runs. But it's a start. He's been swinging the bat well. You talked about it before the game. Kiner-Falefa came in the game batting .313 for the season.
Kiermaier hits a bouncer back towards the mound. The pitcher Kinley makes the play.
And Kiner-Falefa's hit a lot of balls to right field, and this time he gets the head out on a fastball down around the knees, and he drives it into the seats. First home run, 3rd RBI of the season for the Blue Jays third baseman.
Davis Schneider getting an at bat. Schneider 5 for 22, a .227 average, couple of homers, 7 driven in. Would imagine he finds his way into the lineup for sure on Sunday. A lefty's on the mound for the Rockies, Kyle Freeland. And we'll find out tomorrow what the lineup looks like. Nobody has been sitting for too long. If you're one of the semi-regulars, generally John Schneider's tried not to sit guys more than 2, maybe 3 games in a row.
Yeah, especially coming out of spring training. We're 3 weeks into the season. You want to make sure that you get everybody as many opportunities to stay sharp as you can. At the same time, you want your regulars to get going a little bit.
The 2-2 to Schneider. Pops it down the right field line, and nobody's going to get it. And Schneider's got himself a bloop double.
Now we've seen a couple of those tonight that just kind of falls out in no man's land down the right field line, and he pops it up. He was out in front and just reaches for it, and then it hits in fair ground and bounces in foul territory. Rogers' throw to second is not nearly in time. Second double for Schneider this season.
So that'll bring up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Guerrero is 0 for 3 with a walk, rounded into a double play his last time up. go? Yes, he did, says Manny Gonzalez at the plate, 1-1. That one will get away from the catcher, and Schneider's on his way to third. The throw gets away, and Schneider's on his way home. So that'll be a wild pitch and a throwing error on the catcher Diaz to score the 4th run of the night for the Blue Jays.
Good for Davis Schneider. You know, you could get out there in a game like this and just say, okay, well, I'm just going to stay put. But he saw the ball get away from the catcher. Ball in dirt, and Diaz kind of late getting after it, and then makes a terrible throw down to third base, and Davis pops to his feet and scores.
Two and two now on Guerrero, who asked for a timeout.
It's so easy in a game like this just to say, okay, well, I'm not going to run. But Davis Schneider, you know, he's a young guy trying to establish himself in the big leagues. That was a pretty good effort by Schneider. Forced the catcher into a mistake.
Glad he's talking to himself in this at bat. Kinley, the third pitcher of the night for the Rockies. Ryan Feltner, the starter, went 5 innings, gave up a couple of runs on 8 hits. And then Peter Lambert came in and threw 3 scoreless innings for Colorado. Bouncer to third, backs up McMahon, and plenty of arm to make the play.
That's a pretty good play. He had to give up ground to get a good hop, and then he knew he had to throw it quickly over to first base and threw it right on the money.
So the Blue Jays down to their final out. Ernie Clement is going to get an at bat. Came on defensively for Bo Bichette. Sends one to center. It is playable for Doyle, and that's the ball game. The Rockies come in here and they swing the bats with authority all night long. 12 runs on 20 hits tonight as they take the opening game of the series by a score of 12-4.
Yeah, not too many bright spots for the Blue Jays for sure. As the Colorado Rockies, they had their hitting shoes on tonight, as Dan mentioned. A season high 12 runs, also a season high 20 hits. So the Blue Jays got to regroup quickly and get ready for game 2 of this 3-game series.
12-4 the final. The Rockies over the Blue Jays tonight. Let's send you to Sportsnet Central right now with Faisal and Martine.